My whole life revolved around dentistry. My father opened his first practice in 1959. I joined him in 1997. Now, the company is my responsibility. When you go to dental school, they teach you everything there is to know about fixing teeth, but not how to run a business. I almost lost everything my father built. My dad, he wasn't a doctor. You know, he didn't act that way. He acted like my dad and everybody's friend.
I was very fortunate in that our town had no dentist and it was growing like wildfire. Next thing I know, all the other adjacent towns around this thing grew at the same rate. So I had a huge practice. If you're the only one, you're the best.
My dad and I always got along real well. Even since I was a kid, we were always very close. So we learned how to work together. Once I decided to be a dentist, I never thought I would work anywhere else but with my dad.
His dad came to a point where it was time for him to move on and retire, and that's when Lance took his vision to the next level.
We met, we had a lot of commonalities. I think we went to Phoenix on a practice growth seminar, had a good time, and then we were like, you know, we could maybe make something big. That day, I think I just kind of decided that I was going to try and make that move.
I was the second hygienist they were adding on. Came in and right at home, open arms. It was fun.
He grew to a huge practice in a very short period of time.
We were just sort of adding a room here, fixing a room there, squeezing one in over here. And then we sort of realized we can't anymore. We have to do something. We have to go outside these walls. It's not going to work anymore. We can't squeeze anything else in here. We squeezed, you know, we took out the broom closet, for crying out loud. There's nothing left.
We were bursting at the seams, and we often made decisions kind of just over lunch.
PA passed a program for a green building. And if you were going to do geothermal, they would pay up to $2 million. For your construction.
We didn't really understand what that meant. We knew it was environmentally conscious, but we didn't know the ramifications of green construction is often quite a bit more expensive.
Our builder called us probably 6 separate times as he was getting bids and kept saying, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
We would make decisions without any real discussion about the long-term financial impact. We just wanted it to be the best place and put a lot of money into it.
We get about 3 months into the project and the rules get released for the program. I read them, we qualify, perfect. I get a denial letter back. Because we started the project before we got approval, they will not pay 1 cent. I tried to get a third, half. I got rejected 11 different times. Things started to gradually unravel there. Our money sources dried up, all the grant sources, the doors got kicked down on those. Now I start to realize that we've got a problem.
I believe our credit card debt at that point was somewhere around $180,000. There was a drawer, we call it, that had a significant value of unpaid invoices from vendors in it. I think that was somewhere north of $200,000 as well.
Vendors started calling, wanting their money, and I just saw messages kind of climbing up on the phone.
Our checkbook was reading negative 37 grand. We were in the red, and the bank had called knowing payroll was coming the next day. What are you going to do? When are you going to get this account current?
He communicated with me about it, but I have to say there was one particular day that he was just broken. And it's funny because he was always a boxer, and his family always fought in toughing competitions. So I've seen him pretty physically busted up, but I would have to say that was the most emotional, broken point of his life that I've seen him.
I remember going home that night and laying on the couch and just crying to my wife that I was going to lose my dad's business, and not through doing anything wrong or doing anything bad or doing anything illegal. I was just going to lose it because we tried to do too much and we just couldn't. We weren't built to handle what we were up against.
Their work ethic really overrode their business sense at that point.
You kind of had to immerse yourself in just trying to ride it out, and so we started cutting costs and doing things, and some of our vendors let us pay overtime.
It was hard. I definitely felt like a single parent, and our older son at the time was really sick. He was in and out of the hospital a lot. There were plenty of times we just lay there crying at night because there's nothing else you can do. And then he just went to work.
I just thought it was going to get caved in on us and we couldn't hold it off.
He knew that I'd be fine selling everything, moving into an apartment with 2 toddlers, and we would get through it. But he was more concerned with how he would let down his father and how he would let down all these employees that had families.
I wanted to make him proud, and he gave it to me, and he deserved it. Growing up, we had a car sitting in the garage and it had this big high fin, and it was an old Mach 1. Special car is a very rare engine. There was only 150 of them made. It was actually the car we drove in our wedding, so I had to sell it. But I remember the day it left, and the important lesson I learned with it is that it was just a possession in my family. It was more important to me, and that's the point in my life where I realized the most important thing to me was my family. Kids were, I don't know, 1.5 and 3 maybe, and part of the reason I sold the car was so I could buy them presents for Christmas, because I mean, take a paycheck for like 6 months.
I had, again, kind of caught a conversation that Invisalign was closing our account unless we paid an outstanding of at least $5,000. I didn't want to see A, our patients suffer, or B, our company be harmed in any way, so I had pulled Dr. Lance in and told him that I had a small amount of money in a savings account, and I'd be more than happy to lend it to them.
And dentists thinking that a hygienist is going to help keep their business afloat with money. That's a very foreign concept to anybody in this room listening. But that's her, and that's the kind of person she is. There's few special people like her in the world.
He definitely didn't want to take it from me at first, and then I think he kind of just knew it was the best for the business.
That's bad. It's really bad that you got to borrow from one of your employees to keep the doors open.
I think it was probably around 2005, we got this email about patient building or new patient attraction, and I think we were like the first or second. We were pretty early clients, but we learned some items. We're just looking to generate new patients.
Bought those cassette tapes and we learned how to answer the phone. And I remember the first girl that got certified and was really good at doing this, she was getting like 90 new patients a month on the phone. Everybody else in the office who wasn't certified was getting like 10, 12.
Hearing Jay Geyer, who is part of the Scheduling Institute, get on the stage and just talk, and kind of, he has a presence to him that makes you believe you can do anything that you put your mind to.
Big year for me forced a lot of issues. One forced us to buy 2 practices, which we'd never done, and we had tried sort of half-heartedly, I guess, because we didn't get there. So for the big year, we changed leaders. We hired another leader in another location. Got the phones off the front desk, huge one, greeter. We learned to pick better people. We learned to spend more time with them. Making your facility referable, big thing for us. Marketing, just marketing in general. I mean, a marketing coordinator. If you would have told me 15 years ago I was gonna have a marketing coordinator working in my office, I'd have laughed you out of the building.
You originally think like the 5X group and the Scheduling Institute, it's all work related, but it's not, because it's everything that you do.
The biggest impact was one we didn't realize till later, was like the stress and the hardship you put on your family by working, 80 hours a week.
He was able then to, shave off some of the time and do things smart. People think that you make more money when you work more hours, but that's not the case.
It finally made us realize that there is such a thing as working too much.
We're looking at a pretty significant, aggressive vision that will take us well into the future and far exceed any revenue line that anybody would have ever imagined a little dental office could do.
People say, boy, your son put a beautiful building up. Boy, your son did. So it's nice to see that your children are a success.
My life has forever changed with the experience I've had at the Scheduling Institute, from Jay to what they teach you to the people that go there, to all of them out there. I can't thank you enough either. There's no better decision that you could make than getting involved with the Scheduling Institute. Now, when we win that car, we're going to let everybody here drive it, and then when everybody's done driving it, we're going to auction it off, and we're going to give half the money to the football program where I coach at, and the other half, we're going to finally give away a car. We're going to buy a car, and then we're going to give one away to our patients. I'd make everybody here proud with, everybody that's watching, with what we do from it. I just would like the opportunity to be able to give a car away.